morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. This is Nada from GRADUAN, and I'm with Joachim, Yasmin, and also Justin from Digi. So first of all, I'd like to thank all of you for tuning in. Today we're going to have a little discussion on what is needed, some skills that's needed for the future workforce. So many of you have actually expressed some concerns with regards to, we can't deny that COVID has definitely shifted or shaken the world, and now everyone is saying that what is required is agility and adaptability. But besides these things, what else is needed? And today we're going to discuss that. So we have Joachim Rajaram, who is the Chief Corporate Affairs Officer of Digi. Hi, welcome Joachim.
Welcome Nada, and good morning everyone.
Good morning.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much. We also have Yasmin Mortaza, who is the CXO Apprentice of Joachim previously, but she's graduated from the program already. Hi Yasmin.
Hi, I was from the third batch of the CXO Apprentice program.
Okay, and also we have Justin Yong, who was also a CXO Apprentice earlier on to the Chief IT Officer, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, correct. Hi, morning Nada, morning everyone.
Morning. So before we get started, I will also be asking and finding out more about what each of you do in your role, but let's play a short clip now. And we're back. So thank you everyone once again. So I'm gonna go straight into it. Joachim, I understand that we were discussing a bit earlier about your role in Digi, and you've been in the organization now for 12 years and you're really passionate about what you do. Maybe you can share with some of our audience today about what you do and how it impacts Digi.
Yeah, good morning Nada. Thanks for the question and thanks for welcoming me on the show again today. So I'm currently Digi's Chief Corporate Affairs Officer. I head the Corporate Affairs team. It's a rather diverse team of very specialized functions. Among them are corporate communications, which is probably the easiest to understand for most people. Legal is also relatively easy to understand, looking over how I run an entire commercial legal operations, and then safeguarding Digi's legal interests in all areas of our business. I also run a large regulatory team looking into technical and commercial regulation, working with the regulator. Telecoms is a highly regulated segment, and there's a lot to do to be compliant and to continue that we ensure and guarantee services for customers wherever they are in the country. The fourth team that I run is government affairs, really engaging with the government sector, the public sector throughout the country. This could be at federal level, state level, local councils, and so on. I run a business sustainability team that looks into all our business sustainability ambitions and programs. Then finally, also lead a team of privacy and data protection, of which Yasmin is now a member of, having graduated from the apprentice program in 2019.
Thank you so much, Joachim. So I'm going to go straight to your topics earlier on. So Yasmin, so I understand you were Joachim's CXO apprentice, and you've graduated and now taking on a role which focuses on privacy. Maybe you can share about, what were you doing in the CXO program, and now, in privacy, what are you actually? What's in your portfolio?
Yeah. So when I was in the CXO Apprentice program, I was under Joachim in corporate affairs. So my experience was a mix of rotations throughout corporate affairs itself. So I sat for a bit with sustainability team, with communications team. I also did fair share in privacy. and also a bit in regulatory. So a bit of everything, just to get the flavor of corporate affairs. It's very different from the core business, but we work a lot with our fellow stakeholders. So it's an interesting mix. It's a good dynamic that we have in Digi as well. So I'm happy to have experienced that. So I did a bunch of different things, from event management to writing pieces and internal communications. I did trainings, a bit of strategy planning as well. So a wide range of things as an apprentice, and now as a privacy specialist in Digi, I look at data protection, especially protecting our customers' data, all 11 million of them, and also information management, how we manage our company information and the documents that we produce every day. So it's a bit different from what I experienced as an apprentice, but I'm happy to take on the challenge. I especially can't escape my boss, so he's still my boss. But it's fun. I mean, it's a good mix of work in privacy, and I'm very happy right now. Yeah.
Well, I'd rather we call Joachim your mentor. You know what I mean? He's guided you through, and now he's
still my mentor.
to make sure you're on the right path.
Yeah.
Wow, it's a big eye opener, I'm sure, for a fresh graduate when you entered, and you're doing really big, real things that actually impact Digi's customers, and now even in your current role. So, Justin, I understand that you joined the program in 2016 and graduated in 2017, and you were attached to the Chief IT Officer. And now I think you're driving transformation for Digi. Please share a bit more about that, please.
Yeah, hi, morning Nada, and morning everyone. I joined Digi as part of the first batch of the CXO Apprentices program in 2016. After 1 year, I was attached and worked with Chief IT Officer back then. Her name is Orshi. She's a really tall Hungarian lady and really nice as well. Yeah, and the interesting thing is I studied marketing, but I joined technology. And since then, I've moved from technology to corporate affairs, and today I'm as part of the CEO office, part of the strategy and transformation team, as you mentioned. Some of the things we do is help Digi develop its 2 and 3 year strategy and long-term ambition. And part of it, there are some transformation projects as well that involve me. I'm personally involved in part of the team as well to help scale agile transformation in Digi as well, and that agile mindset. So quite relevant to the topic today as well.
Really exciting things that you are doing, and I think really adds with the current environment now, where we're all changing, transforming. So I think it's really exciting. So for all of you tuning in, so we're gonna play a short clip about the CXO program now that we understand a bit more about these individuals who've actually gone through it, graduated, and are doing a lot more for the organization. But during this live session, please do keep on popping in questions. We will address them. We'll have a Q&A session, and we can ask our spokesperson straight, and they'll be answering you immediately. So till then, let's watch the short clip about their program. So I hope that video helped to give a little glimpse of what the program is about. You have these 2 success stories with us, and also Joachim, who was actually a mentor of the program as well with us. So I've gotten the opportunity or the luxury to meet up with my 3 guests earlier on and find out more about them. But I would like to do some icebreaker sessions. so that the rest of you will also get a glimpse of, their personalities, and it will be much more interesting. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna play word association. So I'm gonna say a word or a sentence, and let me know the first word that pops into your mind. Okay, so one word to describe 2020. Joachim?
Unpredictable.
Yasmin?
Change.
And Justin?
Learning.
Learning. Okay, I think really apt words. And working from home, how has that been, Joachim?
Enlightening.
Yasmin?
I guess flexible.
Justin?
Productive.
Oh, that's good. So for the rest of you tuning in, please do join us when I do the, when I describe something. If you can also contribute one word that pops up in your mind, please just pop it in the comment section, okay? So one word to describe the CXO Apprentice program. Joachim?
Inspiring.
Yasmin?
Explore.
And Justin?
Ownership.
Nice. Okay. One word to describe yourself, Joachim.
Probably not useful during Ramadan, but hungry right now.
Yasmin?
Petite.
Okay. And Justin?
Curious.
Curious. Okay, our last one would be one word to describe life after MCO. What can we expect?
Resilience.
Yasmin?
I think it's actually popping into my head right now. Probably, I think I'm gonna use again the same word, change.
Okay. Justin?
Growth.
Growth. Okay. I think we can all agree that even from all the words that pop up into your mind, there's a lot of self-development. There's a lot of we need to prepare ourselves and brave whatever that's about to come to us. And that brings us to today's topic, where we're going to address basically game-changing skills for the future workforce. For someone who's interested in the program, or basically someone interested to start their career. What are the skills required now? Because things are not going to be a bed of roses. We can all agree. But it doesn't mean that it's not going to be positive. It's just how we tune in our mindset and use it to our advantage. So today, we're going to find out more about how we do that. I'm going to direct the first question to Joachim. Is it possible for a fresh graduate, someone with no working experience, someone who's energetic, curious, eager to start off his career, to land a full-time job with an organization like Digi?
Yeah, thanks for the question. The short answer is entirely possible. Even as a matter of course, we hire fresh graduates all the time in the areas of network, finance, HR, across the range, retail, and so on. But specific to this CXO Apprentice program, what we're looking for is the best of breed. And over the last 4 seasons of it, we found a really good pool of very young graduates, either those who went to foreign universities, local universities, whether they studied here, whether they studied abroad. We had a nice program to engage the potential addressable talent pool out there, attract those who we feel might be interested in this, find the best quality among them. And when I talk about quality, I'm going to come back to that a little bit more. But it's not just in terms of academic quality or qualifications or your competency itself. There's a lot more than that. And then sort of match them up with the right CXO, someone who they can sort of shadow and learn the shoulder from throughout the course of the entire year. And of course, the final ambition of it is the most important one, is to create a future leadership pool for Digi. Future talent pool, but also a leadership pool. We want to groom future leaders. And if I look back at even my own career, I've been fortunate enough to sort of grow among the ranks of Digi. I came in a very junior position as well, relatively junior position, maybe 12, 13 years ago. And then you've been given the opportunities to try new things, learn meaningful things, be in charge and be responsible for driving the results of meaningful things for the company, work alongside some really bright, inspiring people and grow. And that's the same opportunity that we want to give to people. We also recognize that, in any career, any successful career, there are always a number of people who help you grow, who mentor you, who lead you, who guide you, right? And that's the same sort of impact that we want to have on younger talent today, to be able to share a lot of our experience and guide them as they move along to this as well. So, short answer is entirely possible. The opportunities are there, certainly in a company like Digi. I don't think we're just unique in the market for this. There will be many people, many companies who have the same the same opportunities.
I personally feel that if an organization allows you to grow and learn continuously throughout the whole thing, you develop a different kind of ownership and passion for the job, because these people are the ones who have mentored you. You've gone through different challenges and they've helped you come out of it stronger. So, and if an organization allows you to do all of that, it creates a very good culture within the organization that would help individuals shine. So I think it's a really excellent program. So Justin, what skills do you think would be necessary for a candidate at this point, to stand out in 2021? For example, what do you think made you stand out when you applied? Competition has started to pile up. Candidates are now getting worried. And for example, so do you think a candidate who graduated in 2018, or even for yourself, would you have the relevant skills needed to go through the future, basically?
Yeah, thanks for the question, Nadia. I think it's, in terms of skill set, I think not just skill set for graduates, right, but for people in general. I think for me, there are two things. The first thing is the ability to continuously learn and then unlearn really quickly. I think that's a very relevant skill set, especially given the times where things are changing so fast. And the second thing for me is, I think Joachim mentioned this just now, is how to be resilient. I think as graduates or as any person, you need to be able to see things through sometimes, and sometimes through this, right, you actually persevere more, and through this adversity, you actually build your character. I think these are some of the things and traits that graduates can have, and will actually help them in the starting of their career, especially when things are not so certain at this point of time. Because if I look back in my own career and what I started off intending to be, changed throughout the time. And if I connect back the dots now, any setback that I previously faced actually turned out to be a setup for something better. So you can't really predict. You need to have a plan, but you can't really predict things that change. So I think these two skill sets, if you have, will actually help you through navigate not just the beginning of your career, but throughout your career.
Yeah, having an open mind, basically, right? So, Yasmin, what background were you from? Like, what were your discipline? For example, are there any disciplines that you are looking at, or for your friends in your batch, did they come from diverse backgrounds? Maybe share a bit about that.
Yeah. So I studied law in university. But I did not end up as a lawyer. I didn't take my bar or continue with the proper qualifications. So in uni, I already made up my mind that I was going to take a different route. I wanted to go into corporate. So I started looking around for opportunities to work in companies. So I think for any company, it doesn't really matter what discipline that you study, whether you did marketing or business, or even if you're a law graduate like myself, you can enter into any profession as long as you have the drive and also willingness to learn. So in Digi itself, among my batch, we also have graduates who are from the science background. I have a colleague who did food sciences, and
Oh, wow.
also other apprentices who did biology or other non-social science courses, which has really helped them in their role, not in terms of their knowledge in those areas, but in terms of the skills that they learn during their studies, whether it's like critical thinking skills or analytical skills. What you study in university doesn't really define what you're going to pursue in your career. It might change over time, and there's no set path for anyone. And in Digi, we also don't really look at the cost of study, but there's other qualities and competencies that are considered when you apply.
I think that's a very good way of thinking. It brings comfort to a lot of graduates nowadays who, like yourself, might be studying something and then along the way in uni decide, their passion is in somewhere else, or how they can actually use what they've learned in another aspect. Especially with the current job market, some people they're very worried and very scared of what's going to happen. That's where what Justin mentioned about having an open mind and putting your passion into what you do would help. Joachim, so with the pandemic upon us all, a lot of graduates nowadays are terrified. I'm just going to use the word terrified because there's a lot of uncertainty. They're worried what's going to happen. So how does the industry look like at the moment for Digi?
Yes, it's certainly a very anxious time for most people. It's anxious because it's uncertain. It's not been here before.
Yeah.
The last sort of global pandemic we heard of is, more than a century ago that we saw it. And there were other sort of smaller scale pandemics as well. But it's the first time everyone is sort of facing the same challenges the world over. So that one is scary because where do you run away to? Right, where the grass doesn't seem very much greener in many other places.
Anywhere, yeah.
So that's the first fear. Second fear is that, especially when you're a fresh graduate coming in, your idea of what your path should be is suddenly dramatically disrupted.
Yes.
It used to be you thought, okay, I'm going to graduate, I'm going to go and have my pick of the most fascinating companies and fascinating jobs that are out there, and then I'll have a great job and a great boss, and I'll start to grow and I'll become the boss myself. So that sort of idea is also sort of somewhat disrupted right now. And it's disrupted because, again, you don't see many green patches of grass everywhere else. Everywhere seems to be the same thing out there. But then you also take a step back and you look at the context of things, right? And I like reading lots of books, and so one of my favorite the favorite books that I've read recently is this book called Factfulness. In Factfulness, it shows you how to look at the world and consider facts and data that drive your decision making and drive your judgment and perception of things, rather than conjecture or drama or media or positions or various subjective perceptions. And one myth that they have in that book is the myth of the straight line fallacy. You believe that just because things are going in one direction, it will continue moving in that direction. That's a huge fallacy. It's a terrific book if you can read it. And so, but also it kind of gives us thinking that the line does not go in a straight path all the way, even though it's been straight in the last 8 weeks. There's some points that it will get better, some points it will get very different, maybe a little bit more bleak as well before it gets better. Then if I also consider our own sector, our industry, we're in the business of communication. In fact, Digi's mission itself is about connecting people to what matters most. No other time have I seen this mission being more relevant than now. Looking at what really matters most to people, and that is being connected to all the things that matter to them in their life from where they are, home, their hometown, so that they'll be able to work, they're able to learn, they're able to connect. And we're in a very unique position to be able to fulfill that mission, because that's exactly what we do on a functional basis, building connectivity for people. So in that sense, I'm very optimistic, at least for my sector, but I'm also optimistic for a wider position. I think we'll come out of this, we use all these new words, new normal. I'm getting a little allergic reaction whenever I hear the words new normal right now. But things will change. Many things will go back to the same before. Many things will be quite new. But that's the sort of that is life. That is the sort of lesson of humanity as well. Every 10 years, every 15 years, there's a cultural revolution or a technological revolution or an ethical revolution that changes the way we live dramatically. This is one of them.
I think why this is, it's taking a lot for us all to accept is because it just came out of a sudden. For a lot of people, they're like, if you anticipate a problem or you anticipate change, then it's easier to handle. But I don't think many people saw this coming as quickly, and how suddenly things have just changed, and the straight line is suddenly not straight anymore. The things you normally do and took for granted, you can't anymore. But it does bring us back to basics, and I think that connectivity is key during this whole time. Can you imagine? Many people were saying that if this pandemic happened years ago, before the internet era, before communication was a big thing, I don't think we would survive as well at home as how comfortable we are at this point. And that is thanks to industry that Digi is in as well. You have helped make people's lives a lot more comfortable during this time. So I have a question for Yasmin and Justin. So GRADUAN does a behavioral study annually, where we speak to the workforce and find out from the younger generation, basically, that what it takes, what are some of the factors that helped you choose your employer. And basically the top two would be job scope and also company culture. So Yasmin, maybe you can share more about Digi's corporate culture, or how has it been working in the organization? Because I personally don't think culture is about furniture. Culture is about the people inside. It's the thing that makes you want to give your all in the organization, because your whole team does it together. How is it in Digi?
Yeah, so I would say Digi really has a fun culture to work in. So there's a flat hierarchy to most extent, I would say, and it's easily accessible for you to reach out to your head of departments, to your C-levels, and even as a fresh graduate, you are free to engage with them. There's not a lot of barriers. Even when you're working in projects, and they also take your opinions and your suggestions into consideration. So no idea is ever a bad idea in Digi. And yeah, I guess it's a nice company to work for a fresh grad, because I feel that it really reminds you of university, the cross collaboration that we have as well. It's a good transition if you're a fresh grad, but it's also an interesting transition if you're coming from a strict corporate setting like a bank or a highly regulated area. Coming into Digi, you'll probably have quite a shock, seeing like, oh, why is everyone so chilled? It's fast paced, but it's easy to get along with everyone. Everyone has been super helpful. When I first started out, you can just reach out to ask any questions about the company, about certain tasks, how ways of doing work, and yeah, it's easily adaptable, I guess, for anyone who's joining the company. And I think the people element is what made everyone stay. In corporate affairs itself, we had people who have been in the company for over 20 years, a few of them actually. So it really speaks a lot about the company culture when they do stay for that long. Yeah,
it creates the environment that makes you want to give more. Like I was saying, the ownership, it's a totally different feeling. And Justin, so remember how I was mentioning about job scope, right? And sometimes you're a fresh graduate, you don't know what job scope you actually like or things like that. So are job rotations part of the CXO Apprentice program? Maybe you can share a bit about your experience.
Yeah, so I think something really unique about CXO Apprentice program, something I've observed personally and experienced as well for the last 4 years is that word ownership, and I mentioned this earlier. It's really you have that ownership to sort of design and develop your own development path or your own career path, right? And this is where having the guidance of a CXO mentor helps as well, right? Because you sort of share what you want to do and what are your long-term ambitions. And I think what they can bring is that input and guidance and that mentorship to help you throughout the journey. But part of that journey as well is really up to you. I think, as Yasmin mentioned, can be part of cross-functional projects. So maybe you raise up an area of interest that you're interested to learn in. It could be something that is outside your division that requires cross-functional teams to work on. And when the opportunity arises, your CXO or anyone in the company can help you get into that project. Or you could rotate within that department in your division. I think Joachim mentioned corporate affairs has different departments within that division doing different roles, and each quite specialized. And so if that is aligned with your career ambitions and your long-term area of development, you can rotate as well. So it's really flexible, but it's up to you to sort of take advantage of the opportunities given to you throughout the program. And for me, it's really important to be proactive, to take ownership.
Yeah.
Maybe I could just a final point on culture and Digi's culture. I think the two separate questions are, how do I see culture in an organization? That's one question. And then really, what is Digi's culture? What are we known for? I mean, culture, when you think about it, if you think about your own sort of ethnic culture, religious culture, tribal culture, it's a set of rituals. Firstly, it's the things that you do that make you very unique. And same thing with an organization as well. It's about questions on how does the leadership behave? How do people work? How do people live on a daily basis? What are the big events? What are the big rituals that people come together and look forward to and start to enjoy? And also it starts to describe people at a very micro level. What are sort of characteristics that each person, each digizen has? And that is the expectation that we have on every single person that we come in. And then if I can bridge that to Digi's culture right now, I think the simplest way to talk about it is to really look at our set of behaviors, our set of values. These are sort of words on the wall, but these are the expectations of every single digizen as well. And we have 4 values. Firstly is always explore. So have that sense of exploration and ownership of the work that we do. Second is create together. There is no soloist. There's no room for solo performances in Digi. It's really about collaboration. That's the sort of characteristic we look for in people as well. Are you able to work in matrix teams? Are you able to work in project organizations? Are you able to manage a project boss and a line organization boss? Are you able to sort of move around, work across differences, across skill sets, create something together? So that whole thing, create together. Third one is very important, keep promises. So the ability to actually have ownership, but deliver on that ownership, and take ownership also when you're unable to deliver or unable to meet expectations. I think that's a really important characteristic that we look for in every single digital. The fourth one is my favorite. It's called be respectful. And firstly, at its heart, it recognizes that all of us are very different.
Yeah.
When we come together, we create one very unique animal. But all of us are very different people who bring various different competencies, capabilities, skill sets, way of working, background, opinions to the table. And if you don't look at diversity, if you don't welcome this diversity in your organization, and having welcomed it, if you don't nurture it, if you sort of force people to just conform to one way of thinking, then you're never going to grow as an organization. And of course, at the end of it, it's always about respect as well. It's about having regard for each person's individuality in this. So these are not just the values that we have as an organization. These are the sort of characteristics we look for in people when we bring them as well. Your ability to explore, your ability to collaborate, your ability to deliver and keep promises, and finally, your ability to sort of exist in a very diverse organization and respect every single individual, from the CEO right down to the receptionist and security guard that you meet every day when you walk into the office.
Yeah. I think those are really, really important, skills or ideals to actually have. But one more thing, Joachim. So at the moment, a lot of the candidates, like I said just now, they're worried because on top of the fact that organizations are going to be a bit more selective, competition has also started to increase. With everything being digital, global, your graduating batch or your competition for a job role is no longer just within, people in your country. Basically, you have applicants coming from all over the world. So with increased competition and things like that, how can a candidate make themselves more visible, more employable? I think you shared a bit of the skills that Digi actually looks for and that would fit very well. But maybe you can just elaborate a little bit more on how can they then differentiate themselves from their peers?
Well, in answering that question, I'm going to look back at my own experience in recruiting these apprentices. So after being around several rounds of recruitment already, I need batches of top 50 candidates, top 30, and top 12, and finally choose mine as well. I'll tell you the ones that stood out, and Yasmin, you're one of them, of course, since you were my apprentice anyway. But I look for some very unique factors, right? First thing I look for is self-belief, belief in yourself. Someone who comes in with a sort of confidence to say, you know what, give me a job, I can do it. I believe that I can do it. I believe that you can put me into challenges and find a way of getting it done. Yasmin has a very good characteristic about her. She says yes to many things, to almost all things, even if she doesn't know how to do it, and she figures things out later on. It's a good characteristic. I was looking out for someone like that. She gave me that impression. Second, so the first one is, have that self-belief. Second is have that little bit of courage. Courage also comes in sort of belief to think long term. Short term, there are going to be many, many disruptions that come into our life, and we have short term disruptions in our life anyway, coronavirus or not. We always have the short term disruption. But if you take a long term view of life in general, right? It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. Of course, now it almost seems like it's going to be a sprinting marathon, but it is a marathon, it's long term. There'll be ups, there'll be downs, there'll be peaks, there'll be valleys. Have the courage to really say that, you know what, I'm going to have this, I'm going to be brave, I'm going to do this, I'm going to stick to it for the long term. The third thing is, I always look for someone who's authentic. Be yourself, be authentic. Don't try to at least live out a persona of what you think people expect of you.
Yeah.
And if it turns out that your authenticity is not something that we're looking for, all the better for you, because then you saved yourself time from being away, from being in an organization that is not for it. And we're not for everyone. We're a great organization. I believe that we're a fantastic place to work. We're not for everyone.
Yeah.
There are many people who come in and say, you know what, not for me. Save yourself some time of discovering that if you are true to who you are and how authentic you are as a person. But, if you are these three things, if you have confidence in yourself, if you have the courage to try new things, and if you're authentic, you're genuine as a person, it's the easiest thing to see. Easiest thing for any recruiter to see, easiest thing for any executive to see as well.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm sure the audience would really appreciate that, because sometimes they get lost thinking that they should change themselves to fit into what they perceive employers want. And then after a while, they realize they're not being true to themselves, and then it just creates even more disruption for both sides. But I think some of the things that you mentioned are very crucial, not only for a fresh graduate, but for anybody in the workforce. I'm going to ask Yasmin and Justin the big question as to what aspect of the CXO Apprentice program actually attracted you to it? Why this program when you were applying? Maybe Yasmin can start off first.
Yeah. So I think I talked a bit about this earlier. So I didn't want to be a lawyer, but I didn't really know what I want to do because I came from a law background. So I was considering my options. What do I want to be in a corporate company? There's so many things that you can do. You can go into HR, you can go into marketing, you can go into sales. There's limitless opportunities out there. So I started to narrow down and reflected on what I really wanted to do, what I'm passionate about. But I wanted to keep my options open. So the Digi CXO Apprentice program came at a right time. It was a bit different from other management trainee programs. There's a lot more flexibility. And yeah, as someone who didn't really know what I wanted to do in a company, I guess it's the right opportunity for me to sort of explore, but at the same time have a mentor to help me or to guide me along the way as well, in terms of what I should do, what I can do, and yeah, just basically try my hand at a lot of different things and see where I fit the best. So I think that's why I chose the apprentice program to begin with. Yep.
Justin?
Yeah, for me, I remember, and this is a funny story, I remember walking down the corridors of my university, and on the way to the toilet, I actually saw the poster of the CXO Apprentice program. And that was also the time where I was joining many different case study competitions. And case competitions that I joined really were with companies that I thought I wanted to join. And at that time, I was really exploring and adamant on going to either join a startup or a consulting firm. So never in my mind had joining a telco occurred to me. But just so happened, right, it was in my face, the poster, and I tried, I applied. And 1 or 2 days after, I got a call, and this person from HR spoke to me, and the way that the person was interacting with me and the type of questions she asked really was about to find out who I am as a person and my background. And it wasn't really like, pass your CV, what is your GPA, those kind of questions, right? And that got me thinking that, hey, if it's a company that sort of looks at you as an individual and your life experience and weighs that more compared to, not that CGPAs are not important, but weighs that more compared to what you have on a piece of paper. Now, I thought that would be an interesting company to at least try out for. And since joining it, honestly, I can say, and everything we shared today, you have that ownership of designing your own career path. And today I'm in the strategy team where I get a mix of consulting. There are ex-consultants in my team, so I learn a lot from them. When I first started Digi, I was really involved in driving that culture of innovation. And so I worked with a lot of startups as well through that process. So actually, I had the best of both worlds.
I was about to say, yeah.
And honestly, if you say you can plan it, I don't think you can. But what's important is you probably have to have a plan and be okay to change the plan. Like I say, when you connect back the dots, sometimes that initial setback can actually be a setup to something greater. And Digi is a great place for you to do that. And for me, at least, it's been a great experience.
Yeah, it sounds really great that that both of you came in with an open mind. Like for you, Justin, you thought you knew what you wanted, or you knew where your passions lay. And with Digi, or your entire journey now, it has helped you actually experience a bit of everything, especially working, with startups and also the experts who were ex-consultants. You actually got a more holistic career path now, in a way. And for Yasmin, I think the rotations actually helped you identify where your passion is, especially because you said you came from a legal background and did not expect to end up here, but now you're looking into privacy issues, which is a really big thing in today's day and age, So you're doing amazing stuff in Digi, and it's all thanks to the program that started you through. So I'm just going to ask one last question before we start the Q&A. This is for all three of you. How this pandemic or COVID has actually dropped on all of our laps, and once things go back to normal, do you think that somehow it would restrict our capabilities or expand them further? So just so you know, we did this poll on our social media, past few days, we actually asked our members to actually vote, and 25% actually said that they feel that it has or will restrict our capabilities, but 75% has said that they feel that, with allowing more webinars or online activities and how the new ways of working has now, they will actually expand our possibilities further. What do you guys think?
Yeah, maybe I'll go first. I'm an optimist. I believe people will find ways of working, ways of coping, ways of not just doing all that, but really ways of succeeding. And the past 8 weeks has really shown me that about my own team and my colleagues in the rest in Digi itself. We've been doing so many things without being in the same physical space, almost as adequately, if not even better, than when we were working from the office. So if you take that whole norm and that has changed right now, many people are as productive, if not more productive before. They're not getting stuck in traffic jams. They're not taking time walking from one meeting room to another, waiting for a lift, walking down 15 meters from one corridor to the next. You just literally at 2 clicks of a button, you're in the next meeting already. So we've run large town hall sessions, 1,000 people on one platform, and it's probably been even more engaging than having 1,000 people in yellow t-shirts in a single auditorium. Powerful though those things were as well. I've seen us get approvals from local councils, from police, from ministries, for people to get out there and working under the first few weeks of MCO when things were extremely restricted. And we still thrived and found our way through it. So I'm extremely optimistic. I think we will always find things to ways in which to work around hurdles. I mean, the human brain is made to thrive and work around hurdles. We should trust ourselves a lot more. The only thing that will hold us back is fear and just that strong rooting to comforts of the past. Those are things we need to let go of, and then we can be very excited about the times to come.
What do you think, Yasmin?
I think it will expand your capabilities more than ever, because now you're not being dependent on others. There's a lot more, things that you would discover you're able to do. For example, going digital. With our company recently migrated to Office 365, and it was quite a painful process in the beginning. The adoption rate was quite slow, but I think the MCO really accelerated the adoption, and everyone's a pro now with their Microsoft Teams, with their document sharing and storage as well. There's a lot more things that they're able to do on their own rather than before. So people are embracing the change. They are figuring out new ways of working, and for DG and at least for our teams here in corporate affairs, it works. So it's all about embracing, not really new normal, but a new change, I guess, and not really restricting yourself to the old ways of working, as you said.
Justin, what are your thoughts?
I think that's a great question, and I'm on the optimist camp as Joachim as well. And I think this is a great opportunity for creativity and exploration, right? And it all comes down to that learning mindset or that growth mindset that I talked about earlier. And it's so important, I think, for people to check your mindset, and even I do that myself, because research has shown that as a person fluctuates between a fixed mindset and growth mindset throughout the day. Sometimes you think you can't do it, sometimes you think I can do it. But this is a great opportunity, and you've seen different people learning new things, and maybe picking up a new hobby or rekindling old hobbies. You've seen the way customers are changing the way they interact with us as well. A lot more customers now are interacting with us through digital tools, through our app and different things like that. And these were generally from a segment that usually preferred to go to the store. So you see it across the entire spectrum, from customers, from, as Yasmin mentioned, the way we work, and as individuals as well. And I think one thing at Digi is we challenge ourselves every year. We have this 40-hour challenge that the company throws to each other, and we challenge ourselves to learn something new, pick up new skills that will help us, whether it's in data analytics or automation or anything that will help you in your career. And you really have the platforms where you can learn anything. So I think this time has really accelerated that ability of having a growth mindset and of learning new things. So yeah, really optimistic about people learning new things and myself learning new things.
That's really, really good that all of you are on the optimist camp. So am I. I think that, we wouldn't have had this session if not for, all of these things that actually happened. So I just wanted to touch a bit about the program, and we're going to open some questions because we've been receiving a lot of questions from the audience. So CXO Apprentice program is, to me, a really cool program because it's tried, tested, it's been around now for about 4 years, 3 batches, right? So it's not something that Digi has just come up with. You can see success stories where both of you are actually pursuing really good things. I personally know people who have gone through the program and have excelled and are now working overseas. So it's a really good platform for growth and mentorship and all of that. So we received a question from Jimmy Rock and Roll, where he's saying that he appreciates, all of you sharing the bright side about the culture and working environment, but there has to be some challenges that you face. So they want to know what exactly, what pushes your buttons during the program. I'm sure there has to be some pressure points. Maybe you can share a bit of your experience from there.
Yeah, maybe I can start. I think it's not a smooth sailing journey as you're painting maybe the highlight views of the journey, right? I think if I share my own experience, throughout maybe the beginning, maybe the first 3 months of the program, because the program gives you so much flexibility and honestly opportunities, it's really up to you to take that, be proactive. And what I learned in the first 3 months is I wasn't proactive enough. I was sitting back and waiting for things to come to me, whereas the culture of Digi is very different. It's like you want something and you want to learn something, and people are there to help you out. But you need to be proactive. You need to reach out for it. You need to speak to your managers, speak to your leaders. And when you share with people your this is the area I want to learn and this is the area I want to grow in, people will help you get that. But so I think that's one of the early stumbling blocks for me when I started out the program. Is the first 3 months I wasn't proactive enough, and I sort of felt like, oh man, am I not living up to the expectations of my manager and different things like that. But it's actually me taking ownership of something and really driving it. And when someone gave me that advice, and when I started doing that more, I saw growth even in my own development. So that's one of the things.
So something similar for me as well, but it was in patches, I guess, throughout my apprenticeship. But I think another challenge, I would say, is not asking for help enough, or not ask enough questions. I get that a lot. Yeah. So because I'm a type of person who tries to figure things out first before asking for help, so sometimes it takes a longer period of time to get something done, or takes a bit longer to get an answer that I could have probably just get quite quickly if I knew the right person or the right questions to ask. So it's always about being curious to know the answers, but also seeking ways of how you can get those answers. So I guess similar to what Justin had said, it's about being proactive. Yeah.
Okay. Another question that we received. So, Joachim, I know you have a lot of passion for your role and for the company. You've been there now for more than a decade. But for someone who's starting out, I think we can direct this question to all three of you. How do you find passion and true value in what you do? How does someone, whether they're starting out or in the middle of their career, find or develop that passion within themselves and know that this is actually right for them or for society?
Yeah, Nara, thanks for the question. I think different things work for different people. It is hard to say that something that works for me is going to work for Justin or Yasmin or yourself or for anybody else. But I mostly believe it's about doing and not hesitating too much. When you do, the more you find out about yourself, the more you find out about the realities of the world you want to live in, the company you want to work for, the sort of community you want to build. And these are things you'll never find out if you're always standing on the sidelines and starting to make hypotheses. Get in there, roll your sleeves up, get dirty, and then eventually you'll find something that really works for you. And if you're lucky enough, you'll find something that works for you over a long period of time. I certainly count myself to be lucky to have discovered that, but I'm not alone in it. I believe many people have found that the one thing or the few things that they are mostly passionate about, but it can never be found by not doing it in the first place.
Yasmin?
I think finding your passion is also about not limiting yourself to one thing. So when I first started looking for a job, I was about, okay, I want to work for a non-profit organization. I want to do something good in the world. I want to help people. But yeah, I ended up in a telco. I'm now doing privacy, which is still a very important important part of the business. I still feel that I'm helping a lot of people. That I'm really doing something impactful, protecting people's data and whatnot. So I try to make myself think that way.
It's true, but there's nothing that way you are. It is a really big issue.
Yeah. So it's also putting things into perspective. Helping people doesn't really mean that you need to go on the ground and teach to the underserved communities or going and donating food or money. It's also about helping your customers. So from when I started in Digi, I guess the value of connecting you to what matters most, what Digi is most passionate about, really resonated with me and really made me rethink about how I can help others. So yeah, I've translated my initial passion of helping others into the business, I guess, and I found something that I really like but in doing privacy. So it's sometimes it just takes a bit of a mind shift to get where you are.
And Justin.
Yeah, Nada, I think for me personally, I think passion fluctuates. At some moments you can be very passionate, and sometimes you're not so passionate. I think one thing that really resonates with me is purpose above passion. Because if you find a company or in what you do that aligns, whose purpose aligns with your personal purpose, then I think you can continue to be at least passionate more times, right? Even things when the adversity strikes. So you really need to connect your purpose to the company of the purpose and find that place and environment where you feel that you two are aligned. And like Yasmin mentioned, that whole Digi's purpose, and it's not even our strategy, it's our purpose, it's connecting people to what matters most. I think that resonates with me, which is why I'm continually working in Digi and passionate about what I do.
It's really awesome. I think passion for what you do is number one, and it will show in how you deliver your work. So we've come to the end of the session. Thank you so much. So what we're going to do now is actually at the end of this, I will actually put on a QR code for all of the audience. You can just scan it and apply direct to the program. But before we end, maybe three of you could just give one last tip or insider info for our audience that actually has tuned in for the session to find out how can they make themselves a little bit better, or a little tip how to excel in their application.
Well, Digi's spirit, Digi's brand spirit is let's inspire. So be inspiring.
Okay. Yasmin?
I think it's true to our employer brand. It's freedom to explore. I guess it's always try and find different ways of doing things. And yeah, I mean, if Digi might be the one for you, Digi might not be the one for you. But yeah, keep your heads up in your job seeking applications.
Inspire, explore, and now, Justin?
I think it's just culture, right? If you're looking at a place that has great culture and great opportunities for you to learn and grow, then I think it's a place to be.
Okay. Thank you so much once again for all of you who's tuned in and to my, nice panelists. Thank you so much for sharing all of this time throughout all of this. So we're going to run a post survey for any of you who want to know more about this, or how we can improve the next session with Digi. And we're giving away 2 Starbucks vouchers, Starbucks cards. So please do the survey after, but more importantly, apply to the CXO Apprentice program. Thank you so much once again. There's the QR code. Please scan. And thank you so much to my panelists. Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Bye-bye. Stay safe.